Most people think persuasion is a dirty game played by slick con artists. They call it manipulation. They call it trickery. But that belief? It's a comfortable lie they tell themselves to justify their own powerlessness. The truth is far more brutal. The ability to influence is the only real currency in the world. From the forgotten princes of the Italian Renaissance to the modern architects of tech empires, they all mastered one fundamental law. Selling is not about products, it is about control. If you cannot plant your flag in someone else's mind, you will spend your life living inside the walls someone else has built. You follow their rules, you dance to their music. Today, we aren't just talking about sales tactics. We are dismantling your current mindset and rebuilding it from the ground up. We are discussing invisible authority, the kind of gravitational pull that doesn't need to shout, the kind that makes people lean in. If you've ever felt that knot in your stomach when you need to ask for something, know this: the problem isn't your pitch. The problem is your position in the game. 1. The predator stance, authority over argument. Machiavelli observed a simple truth centuries ago: humans bow to power, not to goodness. A sales conversation isn't a polite debate between two equals. It's a negotiation of hierarchy. Look at the natural world. The alpha wolf doesn't beg the pack for food. It doesn't plead its case. It simply is. Its presence commands the space. The moment a seller shifts into approval-seeking mode, the dynamic flips. They become the subordinate. They become the one hoping for a scrap from the table, rather than the one deciding who gets to eat. When you offer discounts before being asked, when you over-justify your price, you aren't being helpful. You are confessing a crime. You are admitting that you don't believe your offer has value. People are not rational computers weighing specs. They are emotional animals scanning for threats. They can smell hesitation like blood in the water. If they sense you need them more than they need you, the deal is dead. Not because your logic was flawed, but because your energy signaled submission. Next time you walk into a negotiation, do not enter as a beggar. Enter as a gatekeeper. Your mindset must shift from "please choose me" to "I am here to see if you qualify for my solution." This one mental flip changes the entire gravity of the room. 2. The internal veto: why your nervous system never lies. There is a dangerous myth circulating in the business world: a good salesperson can sell anything to anyone. This is absolute poison. You cannot. And if you try, you will fail. You will crash and burn. Never, under any circumstance, sell something you don't genuinely believe in. Power cannot flow through a contaminated vessel. Machiavelli warned that a ruler who doubts their own right to rule is inviting a coup. The same applies here. This isn't spiritual woo-woo. This is biology. Your body is a lie detector. When you try to sell a story you don't believe, your mouth might say one thing, but your micro-expressions, your voice, your posture are screaming the truth. The buyer may not consciously know what is wrong, but their ancient survival brain is sounding the alarm. Danger. Do not trust. Imagine you are on an operating table. The surgeon walks in, but his hands are shaking. He looks at the chart, then at you, and whispers to the nurse, "Are you sure this is the right procedure? Would you let him cut you open?" No. You would run. In the world of influence, you are the surgeon. You are operating on the client's problem. If your hands are shaking, if your belief is wavering, the client will feel the fear. And a scared human being freezes. They do not sign checks. So, if you are representing something you think is average or overpriced, stop. Walk away. Trying to force a sale when your soul is not in it is a form of self-betrayal. You can fool the audience, but you cannot fool your own nervous system. Before you can sell the external world, you have to sell the person in the mirror. The market doesn't pay for effort. It pays for congruence. Congruence is when your words, your actions, and your internal state are all pointing in the same direction. The market rewards who you are, not what you pretend to be. Most people fail in persuasion not because their script is bad, but because they are hollow inside. They want others to invest in them while they haven't invested a single hour in their own self-discipline. This hypocrisy leaks out. It has a smell. Confidence is not born from success. Confidence is born from self-respect. Every time you do the hard thing, wake up when the alarm rings, finish what you started, you are casting a vote for your own strength. This is the mirror test. When you look yourself in the eyes at dawn, do you see a person you would bet your entire future on? If the answer is no, why would anyone else bet on you? The world only gambles on those who have already put their own chips on the table. When you are fully convinced of your own worth, a rejection doesn't sting. It doesn't matter if someone says no, because your value isn't up for a vote. This is the state where you stop being a seller and start being a leader. 3. Sell the aftermath, not the object. Amateurs list features. Professionals sell the feeling of escape. This is the difference between a clerk and a commander. Nobody wakes up and thinks, I need a new CRM software. They wake up thinking, I am drowning in chaos and I need my life back. Logic is just the justification we give after we've already made an emotional decision. Look at the stock market. Traders talk about PE ratios and technical analysis, but when the market crashes, they sell in a panic. When it rips higher, they buy out of greed. They use the charts later to explain the feeling they already had. The same dynamic rules every transaction. Nobody buys a luxury watch. They buy a feeling of status and an escape from the shame of being average. Nobody buys a gym membership. They buy an escape from the self-loathing they feel when they look in the mirror. Nobody buys a course. They buy the hope of leverage over their future. If you are talking about your product, you are losing. You need to be talking about the cost of inaction. Ask the person across from you, if nothing changes in the next 12 months, what will that cost you emotionally? What has this problem already stolen from you? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are a form of compassion. You are pulling the veil off their denial. Until they feel the burn of their current reality, they will never reach for your solution. Machiavelli knew that fear of loss is a far stronger motivator than the hope of gain. 4. Become the dam, redirecting the flow. Weak people try to convince. Powerful people simply state the terms. Trying to persuade is a signal that you are lacking authority. When you over-explain, you are telegraphing, I need your approval. And neediness is the ultimate power leak. True influence isn't about arguing someone into submission. It's about redirecting the flow of resources to where they naturally belong. Money is never neutral. Money is always flowing towards comfort, distraction, or safety. Your job is to intercept that current and divert it towards transformation. Think of a river flowing towards a wasteland. You stand there as a dam. You don't beg the river to change. You just stand firm, and the water has no choice but to fill the reservoir you've built. When you state your price, state it like you are reading a weather report. Calm, factual, unapologetic. If you flinch while saying the number, you are pleading guilty. Price is almost never the real objection. The real objection is a lack of belief that your offer can relieve their specific pain. A no is not a rejection of you. It is a signal of incomplete awareness. When they say, I need to think about it, they are lying to you. They aren't thinking, they are stalling. They are trying to escape the discomfort of making a choice. 5. The autopsy of resistance. Machiavelli taught that resistance is simply a lack of clarity. An elite influencer does not retreat when they hit a wall of resistance, they diagnose it. Is it a lack of trust in me? Is it a lack of belief in the result? Or is it a lack of confidence in themselves? More often than not, people don't buy because they are scared they will fail, scared they will screw up the implementation. Your job is not to argue with them. Your job is to surgically remove that fear. 6. The Rubicon decision, demanding the close. Everything you truly desire in this life is hiding behind a single word, yes. Weak people wait to be discovered. They hope that someone will notice their potential and tap them on the shoulder. But powerful people demand. They create a reality where saying yes is not a favor, but the most logical move available. Fortune favors the bold, but it only rewards those who ask. Machiavelli understood this with surgical precision. Power never flows to the merely virtuous. It flows to those who act. Here is a lie that keeps you small. If it's meant to happen, it will happen. That is a fairy tale for the passive. Nothing significant manifests without a decision. And every decision requires someone to say yes. If you cannot ask for that yes, if you cannot guide someone to it, you will live your life inside the results that others have chosen for you. Think of Julius Caesar at the Rubicon. He didn't send a letter asking politely if he could rule Rome. He crossed the river with his army and forced the Senate to react. The same dynamic happens in every deal. You don't ask, so, do you want to buy it? You ask, do you want to start on Monday, or would next Monday be better? When people hesitate, it isn't because they lack desire, it's because they lack certainty. Your job isn't to pressure, it's to eliminate every bridge back to the shore of indecision. Stop viewing the close as a risk, view it as a responsibility. If you genuinely believe your solution helps them, then not pushing for a decision is unethical. Leaders don't present a confusing menu, they present a clear path. 7. The simulation chamber, practice over prayer. Hope is the anesthetic of the powerless. Practice is the scalpel of those who intend to win. Most people admire talent because it lets them off the hook. If success is a genetic gift, then failure isn't their fault. Machiavelli would laugh at this delusion. Power is never accidental. It is engineered through relentless repetition. Sales is not a magical art reserved for the charming. It is a mechanical skill, and like any mechanical skill, it is honed through deliberate, uncomfortable practice. Watch a fighter pilot. When a missile locks on in a real dogfight, they don't freeze and think, their body moves. Why? Because they have died 1,000 times in the simulator. In the world of influence, your simulator is your daily life. Weak people say, I don't want to practice on people. Powerful people practice on everything. Conversations with the barista, negotiating with their kids, deciding where to eat. Every trivial interaction is a data point. Machiavelli warned that armies are lost not in the heat of battle, but during the laziness of peacetime. Salespeople fail for the same reason. They wait for the big moment and then crumble because they haven't trained. Those who drill the fundamentals daily are calm when the stakes are high. Repetition kills fear because fear lives in the unknown. Practice turns the unknown into the familiar, the predictable, and the controllable. 8. The weapon of silence. Weak people talk to soothe their own anxiety. Powerful people use silence to take control. Most deals don't fall apart because the offer was bad. They fall apart because the seller cannot tolerate 3 seconds of quiet. They panic and fill the void with discounts, justifications, and nervous chatter. Every unnecessary word chips away at their authority. Machiavelli warned that a prince who talks too much reveals his own insecurities. Silence is not an absence, it is pressure. Imagine you are at a table. You have just stated your terms. In the center of that table, an invisible clock is ticking. Whoever speaks first loses. If you break the silence, you will start to justify. And justification is the language of the accused, not the judge. When the buyer has heard enough to make a decision, extra words don't add value. They create doubt. The disciplined influencer reads the room. The moment the buyer starts asking about logistics, the decision has already been made internally. Talking now is sabotage. Try the sniper's pause. When you feel the momentum peak, ask a single clear question and then go completely still. The question, based on what you've heard, do you feel ready to move forward? This doesn't push, it clarifies. It forces the buyer to confront their own readiness without you hovering. 9. Recovery, the art of the wobble. Weak people fear mistakes. Powerful people plan for recovery. Most people sell as if the deal is made of glass. One wrong word and it shatters. This belief makes them stiff and defensive. Machiavelli would dismiss this immediately. Real power is not fragile, only fake power is. A deal doesn't die from a mistake, it dies from the panic after the mistake. A mistake shows you are human. Panic shows you are weak. Buyers forgive errors, they never forgive insecurity. Watch a tightrope walker. If they wobble for a second, then steady themselves and continue calmly, the crowd actually respects them more. They think that was close, but they have control. It's the same in a pitch. If you stumble on a word or forget a stat, don't fall into a pit of apology. Don't say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so nervous." Just correct it and move on. A seller who stays steady under the wobble signals resilience, and resilience builds more trust than perfection ever could. Over-apologizing invites judgment. The powerful correct and continue. They don't stop the show to explain why they stumbled. Conclusion: the architecture of authority. In the end, understand this final truth. The one who masters influence stands above the noise. Power is not taken by brute force. It is accepted because the structure is sound. The weak believe selling is about tricks and tactics. The strong understand it is about position. When your position is correct, you don't need techniques. When your position is weak, no technique can save you. Remember this: those who can move the minds of others are not the loudest in the room. They are the calmest. They are the most selective. They are more willing to walk away empty-handed than to accept a bad deal. They don't beg for trust. They radiate it. This isn't just about making money. This is about cutting through the chaos. You are the one who removes the fog. You eliminate the gap between desire and decision. In doing so, you take on the responsibility that most people run from. And responsibility is power. Your mission, starting today, is to stop thinking like a seller and start thinking like a director. Direct the flow of energy and resources to where they need to go. When you truly believe in your offering, when you have conquered yourself before trying to conquer the market, when you diagnose the wound instead of just presenting the bandage, fear dissolves. At that point, influence is no longer work. It is simply alignment. The market rewards authority, not effort. It rewards certainty, not intention. Stand above, make your decision in peace, and let the world follow.